Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. I, 28 female, am getting married to my fiance, 32 male, in 8 months. We've been together for 2 years, and he proposed last year. The wedding planning has been mostly on me, which I don't mind, so I can plan my dream wedding. We were finalizing our seating plans and we had 2 tables with 1 empty spot each. Yesterday, I was reviewing the list and saw my fiance's ex's name on one of the tables. I did a double take and immediately asked him about it. He told me that his mother-in-law, wanted her there. For some backstory, my fiance and his ex were high school sweethearts and dated for 8 years. They broke up because she cheated on him. Despite this, my mother-in-law remained very attached to her and was devastated when they split. She didn't like me much at first because she held out hope that my fiancé and his ex would get back together. When we got engaged, my mother-in-law nearly sobbed at the announcement and left the gathering early. Since then, we've limited contact with her because of her behavior. I told my fiancé that there is no way his ex is coming to our wedding. He said it's out of his hands because it's his mom's request. This really set me off, and I asked why our wedding needs his mom's approval or input, especially considering the history. We argued and he told me to just let this slide since it's his mom's choice, not his. I ended up calling my mother-in-law directly and told her that the ex is not welcome at our wedding. She gave me all sorts of excuses, saying that I was crossing boundaries, telling her what she can and cannot do, that she and the ex were friends, and that I should respect their relationship. I still stood my ground and said no, over my dead body, which... Now my fiancé is angry and says I can't make such one-sided decisions because it's his wedding too, not just mine. I reminded him that I'm the one paying for this wedding of his on my own, which is a sore point for him. He has about $40,000 in debt, after paying off $20,000 last year with some inheritance money, and he doesn't have any savings whatsoever to contribute. He then accused me of holding money over his head and being controlling. I'm starting to wonder if I'm in the wrong here. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let his ex attend our wedding and for bringing up our financial situation during the argument? Update. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented on my post. Your feedback really helped me think things through and gain some clarity on the situation. Unfortunately, we are no longer together. I decided to have another discussion with my fiancé. I wanted him to really understand how disrespectful it would be for his ex to be at our wedding, given their history and everything we've been through to get to this point. I tried to explain how hurtful it was that he seemed more concerned about his mom's wishes than about our relationship. During this conversation, something in him broke. He broke down and admitted that he had been talking to his ex for the past 2 months. I was speechless. He said it started casually, but it turned into what I can only describe as an emotional affair. He assured me that nothing physical had happened, but the betrayal was insanely hard to come to terms with. He apologized profusely and said he didn't know how to stop once it started. It was like everything suddenly made sense. His new phone password that he didn't share with me, the Sunday outings where he said he was just clearing his head or catching up with friends, but didn't want me to join. All those little things I brushed off as him needing space now seemed like clear signs that something was wrong. I just didn't want to see it. I ended things with him on the spot. I'm now in the process of canceling all the bookings, which is honestly heartbreaking after all the time and effort I put into planning our day. My ex wants to work things out, but I do not. I cannot deal with this heartbreak again, but I know it's the right thing to do. I'm feeling really sad and lost. I never expected this to happen, especially so close to what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. But at the same time, I'm relieved that I found out before I made the biggest mistake of my life. I'm glad I trusted my instincts and didn't let myself be walked over. Thank you again for all the support. I'm so sorry this happened to you, OP. I can't imagine what you must be going through. putting all that effort into the wedding and then having to cancel it all must be very painful, but it's for the best. Your ex was going to marry you even after having an emotional affair with his ex who his mother invited to your wedding. I understand why you didn't want his ex at your wedding, but your ex-fiance, of course, didn't understand, because in a way he was on your mom's side. I'm sorry you wasted your time, energy, and money on all of this. I hope you heal from this. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for wanting to sleep and not waking up to help my boyfriend pack? My boyfriend and I planned a group trip skiing out west with some of his friends and some of mine. We got a big house and he and I got our own room to share there. Everyone else was sharing beds also. It was a very social trip. We all cooked dinner together every night and played games. It was so fun for me because I live alone and have a very small family, so even on holidays I don't get to have big dinners and fun. We also have small apartments in my city at home, so no one has big gatherings. We split up during the day to ski and I was mostly skiing alone there because I'm only an advanced beginner while many of them are either experts or didn't ski. I didn't even go to the same mountain as the 3 guys except Saturday, and we only skied together for 2 hours. That was fine, but I liked being with everyone at night. The last night was Monday night, and we all stayed up till 1:30 a.m. except my boyfriend. He was falling asleep in bed at 10, so I snuggled him to sleep and then went back downstairs to hang out. He got back up around 12:15 and hung out for another half hour and then went back to sleep. I had asked him at least 3 times that day if he was still packed yet. I packed at 6 p.m. because I wanted to sleep in and I knew I would be up late. Anyway, all seemed fine until the next morning when I woke up at 6:30 to use the bathroom. Came back to bed and he got up because checkout was at 10 and the boys were skiing that day, so had to be packed and out the door by 8 a.m. I went back to sleep, but he then turned on all the lights, made the bed with me in it, and told me to move to the other side of the bed so he could pack. He said I probably wouldn't be able to sleep through him packing. I put on my noise-cancelling headphones, covered my eyes, and attempted to sleep, but I could sense he was furious at me. And he kept banging his clothes on the bed and even put something on my leg. I looked at him and he said, "Don't say anything. I don't want my head bitten off and fight on our last day." He looked so mad. I hadn't said anything except muttering about everyone having gone to bed very late. He banged around, then finally left and didn't say goodbye even though I was flying that day, and he and his friends were staying at a hotel and not leaving till the next day. Later I texted, "No goodbye," and he wrote back, "I didn't want to disturb you and get my head bitten off." I tried to figure out what he was talking about, but he blocked me. Then later I emailed and said I didn't understand why he was mad and that I should be the one annoyed because he was so inconsiderate when packing. We had a walk-in closet, basically a little room, and he had plenty of room in there to pack. Or he could have done it quietly, but I didn't complain. I just put on my headphones and ignored him, so I had no idea why he was upset. Then he emailed a response. "I'm not going to tiptoe during packing. I have a mountain of stuff to keep together. I don't need some person lounging in my space during that. I just don't like people that aren't morning people. It's annoying. Alternatively, how nice would the morning have been if you were up with coffee and sitting and speaking to me during this? That's what I like. Quality time. Not 2 ships passing in the wind doing their own things." I also had explained to him that I can get up early if I go to bed early, but this was not that sort of trip. Am I the a-hole for wanting to get more than 5 hours of sleep, but also participate in the entire group socializing? Edited. Spoke to him and he can't seem to believe that I wasn't mad at him that morning, and he thinks he is totally in the right that I should get up when he was packing, and sleeping on the other side wasn't good enough. He also thinks I chose hanging out with the group over him. You're not the a-hole OP. Your boyfriend is giving off so many red flags, it's insane. You reminded him multiple times about packing his stuff, and in this situation, you should be mad at him. He was being such an ass while packing, and he said he didn't want his head bitten off, even though you didn't say anything or even complain about his behavior. He also didn't say goodbye and he blocked you. That's such a childish, manipulative thing to do. I think you two should have a conversation about this again. And maybe in person. I think you should be ready to cut your losses. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for wanting to end my relationship because of my girlfriend's mom? Throwaway account for obvious reasons. This is a long story, so I will have to give a lot of background. I, 21 male, have been with my girlfriend, 20 female, for over 2 years now. And we have been long distance for 1.5 years in college. It was a great relationship at first, but things have really gone downhill since then. I believe it's been her mom. Her mom has always been super involved in our relationship. Like, she knew right away when we had sex for the first time, knows every single date we went on, and knows every argument we've been in. That last one is the main point of this post. My girlfriend tells her mom everything. I find the "my mom is my best friend" thing a bit much, but I can live with that. But it's gotten to the point of telling her to not give me attention, ignore me, not ask me what's wrong, and saying stuff like "school's first" and things of that sort. I know that's her mom telling her to say that stuff because she wasn't like this before. We haven't had sex in a long time because she thinks that's all I want, when it never used to be like that. Her mom also says she just wants her to be happy, but that's a way for her to want to know everything and tell her what to do. Her mom thinks she is right about everything, and I hate that attitude. It has gotten to the point where I can't express my emotions because then it comes out as me not being confident or having trust issues when all I want is more communication in our long-distance relationship and more affection. Her mom is completely controlling her emotions and her life and is taking a huge toll on me. I don't feel like I can keep this relationship going. My girlfriend has specifically said she sends her mom texts before she sends them to me for approval. Is it just me or is this weird? I'm close with my parents but would never ever do that. For the record, I'm not needy or clingy. All I ask for is a 15-minute phone call every 2 to 3 days when we're away, and that's apparently too much, even though we barely communicate over text. I know her mom is telling her to say "school's first" because she's used that BS line on me before. So manipulative and controlling. Should a mom have that big of an influence on her daughter's relationship, even though she's in her 20s? I think this is a case of extreme helicopter parenting, but I want to hear everyone's opinion. I'm missing a lot of details, but this is the rough summary. Am I the a-hole for wanting to break up with my girlfriend because her mom is making me feel like I'm suffocating in this relationship? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. It is really weird for her mom to be so involved in this relationship. You need your privacy. Maybe try and set some boundaries. Surely she must feel that her mom may be too involved as well. It's just not okay. Ending the relationship would be understandable, as you're basically in a relationship with both of them. It sounds like a lot of work. Not the a-hole. This is a really sad situation, and your girlfriend's life is probably going to be miserable if it isn't already under this woman's thumb. But it's on her to establish those boundaries with her mom in the first place. Just for the record, I don't think your girlfriend is very much the a-hole here either. She's being manipulated by the a-hole mom. Also, can I just say the fact that her mom knew you had had sex immediately is super effing creepy. What the F? My boyfriend occasionally gets me to look over long texts and emails when he's afraid of seeming rude. But he and I are best friends along with partners, so that makes sense. And he's never shared messages that would be private. Or I assume he hasn't. In your girlfriend's case, it almost seems like her mom has not allowed her to have a mind or a personality of her own. And it's super unhealthy. Reading the story, I had a wild thought that your girlfriend had died or something, and her mom was covering it up. This is ridiculous, of course, but that's where my thoughts went. And can you blame me? Shit's effed.